Hi, BrenTech here, where tech is made simple. So Windows 10 and Windows 11 both have a feature called Fast Startup, which is buried quite deep in the settings of the operating systems, which basically at the end of the day, its job is to make your PC boot faster. Now, although that is the case, in this video, I'm going to give you the reasons why and tell you why I don't use Fast Startup. But before we have a look at a quick history on the feature and telling you the reasons why I don't use Fast Startup, to get to the feature, it's a similar process on both Windows 10 and Windows 11. You would head to your control panel, and if you don't know where control panel is, just do a search accordingly on both 10 and 11. Control panel. And what I like to do is I like to view by large icons. So if it's in the default category view, just click on large icons. And then you would head to your power options. And then head to the left. And as an example, click on choose what closing the lid does. And now you'll see change settings that are currently unavailable. You click on that. And here you'll see turn on fast startup, which is recommended by Microsoft. And it says this helps start your PC faster after shutdown. Restart isn't affected. Now you can see I have toggled it off. And that's the way I like to keep it. But as you can see, I've toggled it off. And before I give you the reasons why, just a brief history. Now, Fast Startup is also sometimes called Fast Boot and is a feature that's designed to speed up the time it takes for your computer to boot up from a complete shutdown. Now, as mentioned, this sounds good in theory, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword in practice. Now, how this all works is that Fast Startup finds itself somewhere between a so-called traditional shutdown and hibernation. Now, with a so-called traditional shutdown, Windows closes all your running programs, signs out all users, and completely clears the system memory RAM before cutting the power to shut down. Now, what Fast Startup does is that Windows logs off all user sessions and closes your applications, but it then saves the Windows kernel, the core of the operating system, and loaded drivers to a hibernation file called hiberfile.sys. So basically, when you turn your PC back on with Fast Startup enabled, Windows doesn't have to reload the kernel, drivers, and system state from scratch. It basically just loads that saved file back into your RAM, which shaves off a couple of seconds off your boot time. So that's basically a bit of a history on what Fast Startup is all about. Now, although it can make a boot up of your system slightly faster, the downside is that it also saves anything that went wrong before you shut down. So memory leaks, driver issues, hardware conflicts, or degraded performance don't get fixed. So when you turn the PC back on, the glitch returns with it. And another reason why I don't enable it is because it also causes issues with Windows updates. And my reason for saying that is that some Windows updates require a completely clean shutdown to apply. So Fast Startup can interfere with this, causing installation loops or errors. And if you are running a dual boot setup or using full disk encryption, the fact that Windows leaves the drive in a so-called locked hibernation state can cause serious compatibility problems. So as mentioned, to turn off the feature, we head to our control panel, power options, head over to the left, click on one of the entries, and click on change settings that are currently unavailable. And there we go, you can turn off Fast Startup for the reasons I've mentioned in this video. Now, something else to take note of is that if you are running an NVMe SSD as an example, which a lot of users are doing currently and in this day and age, the boot difference with Fast Startup enabled is usually negligible, maybe 1 to 2 seconds. So a lot of users, including myself, like to disable it to avoid potential bugs. So for a 1 to 2 second boost on my startup, I don't think it's worth it. And because I'm running an NVMe SSD, I'm not even noticing that on a startup. Whether on or whether off, I don't notice any difference. And I think most devices these days do have SSDs installed. And just take note, before we end the video, fast startup only applies when you click shut down on your PC. If you click restart, Windows will always perform a complete 100% clean cycle, bypassing fast startup entirely. This is why I always say on the channel, a restart often fixes weird PC bugs when a shutdown doesn't. And that's why I say when we are dealing with Windows update problems, always restart your PC and don't shut it down. But nonetheless, I digress. So those are the reasons why I don't use fast startup on my Windows devices. But obviously at the end of the day, each one needs to make that decision for themselves. But I thought I'd just provide you with the information. And obviously it's up to you what you can do with that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.